What is going on, everybody? What's up? Sorry for the late start tonight. Just kind of taking it a little easy. I just got done eating supper, so you're not supposed to exercise. So I was kind of letting my digest a little bit. And I had made one of those stuffed pork chops. Those things are freaking addicting, man. You talk about Trader Joe's popcorn. These I usually when I get pork chops, they're usually they're never moist or they're always tough. Ones I always get. So these ones, I bake them and they actually have the stuffing in there, and it retains the softness. It's actually really freaking good, and I don't have to add anything to it at all. I just get because the ones are behind the counter at Kroger for the meat department. I think they're still on for $4 a pound or something or whatever. Yeah, they're freaking amazing.
I had Jersey Mike's today.
You
get the giant original Italians.
Yeah.
And you can make 2 meals out of it. And I'm not saying that I go there a lot, but my sandwich was free today.
Oh, nice.
So that's...
Yeah. I've been to Jersey Mike's when I opened up here. Was it probably 10 years ago? I think a little longer than that. But yeah, I went there and I couldn't believe how many options they had, but also looked at the price. I was like, dang, they're expensive.
Well, I guess it costs money to have Eli Manning and Danny DeVito, pimp your sandwiches.
Well, not only that, I think I can't remember how much it was. I think it was $12 or probably a bit more than that. And I remember if you get the chips come free with it. Because I know you go to Subway, they don't chips will come free, but there's a combo deal. So they actually reduces the price versus buying a little bag of chips. Yeah, I get what do you get, a 15-inch sub?
It's like a foot long.
Right.
And it has all kinds of meat on it it's got pepperoni and salami, but it's got these other kind of meats that individually I can't stand, but all together on a sandwich with salt, pepper,
pastrami,
oil. No, it's like capicola, ham, mushka boo 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 boo. Fuck, I don't know.
Yeah, mystery meat there, buddy.
I just can't pronounce it.
I was not even the second one didn't really any red flags. It's the first one, the capicola. It sounds like you got.
Well, capicola. I think that's famous from New York delis.
Okay.
And I know it's big at Jimmy John's, but Jimmy John's buns are so hard you could use them as tent stakes.
Buns of steel, you say?
Something like that.
Oh, all right though. But no, when you say capicola, I think of Coca-Cola. That's pops in my head. That stuff. But hello to everyone in the chat though. Hello to Imperial Goddess is watching us on YouTube. What is up? Hello to Maranya. Hello. Good evening, everyone in the studio audience. Then we got one select dude and a cheeseburger pops up. You got comics and cheeseburgers, but there's no fries. Jersey Mike has excellent subs.
Yes, they do.
I never said it was a bad sub, Brandon. I just never really went back. I was
they better be good there, because you're right. They're expensive as hell.
I had actually, I think I got it was a free coupon for a free sub. That's what it was. So I went there. I got a free sub, and I just never kind of went back because I was just it's kind of out of my way, and also that's really expensive. There's another company in here, a family-owned restaurant called Cousins, and they're pretty good on their prices, and you can get all the different kinds. Get they could be with a Subway. If you want a meatball sub, they got that. The Italian, the club, tuna. A lot of times they'll have, because for I don't know where I am in Wisconsin, they'll have some kind of they'll do a brat burger, or not a brat burger, but basically bratwurst cut up and stuff on a sub, or they'll do their Philly, they get Philly, or you can get a cheesesteak, which I was going with. I'm like, what the hell is the difference between a Philly and a cheesesteak? You just take the cheese off; it's the same damn thing, But anyway, though, my point was they do the 15-inch subs, and They're a little less expensive than Jersey Mike's, but and they're also
The
close.
one I got regular price is $18.75.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah, but it's and I would, if it were one meal, I would accept it. I can make that lunch and dinner, and then it's not as bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I said, I mean, I could probably eat one in one sitting, but I'd rather not.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. It's but cousins, yeah, you cut up, you'll have one for the next day. It's just the only thing you gotta be careful, like with certain things. If you get like I like the tuna fish. When and if you don't eat that within so much time, that bread gets soggy. And I'm like, ugh, I'm done. But overall though, I said like if you like subs, I guess they're pretty good. I just never really cared for Subway. I stopped going to them. Quiznos was my favorite. We don't have any more though. Quiznos had one.
The best player in the world is in 62nd place of game.
Oh, nice. So yeah, we had Quiznos over here, and if you remember, Quiznos had that meat one. Like it was like one of their special things. They had like bacon, like steak, and like I think there's also chicken on there too and stuff. And it was just like a whole smorgasbord on a bun. It actually wasn't that pricey too, but it was actually really good though.
Subway is dreadful.
Subway's been blah for me since the early 2000s.
You realized where they were spending their money when every big star in the world. No, I'm being serious for a second.
I know.
Like when you'd see like 5 Hall of Fame athletes in the same commercial, they're not coming cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Because they would put more money into their advertising than they put into their food quality. But they were number one, and they that's how they did it by using celebrities to.
Yeah.
Celebrities may not be able to influence elections, but apparently they can tell you what to eat. And now I don't even know if they're top 10. I mean, their brand was destroyed obviously by Jared, but and then when I guess people also figure out, hey, this stuff isn't really any good either.
Yeah, I think I saw something online earlier today. Kind of glanced over. I didn't read the whole entire thing, but it was like a Michael Jordan talking to a LeBron James fan or something, and Jordan claps back and it's like it's saying like, "Well, you're wearing my shoes, not his." That's the difference between Jordan will always be my favorite basketball player, but like LeBron James, he flops more than he actually like makes nuts.
LeBron James is what
Kobe Bryant was better than him. By miles.
I don't know that I don't know that I can go that far. However, LeBron James, like when the best player in the world also feels the need to cheat and take shortcuts like flopping and all that shit, it diminishes your legacy to a tiny degree. Look, he's in the conversation for best player of all time. I happen to think Jordan was best. I would argue Oscar Robertson was the best, but that's a different era and a different time, whatever. But, Jordan won 6 championships. Would have been 8 if it hadn't been for the, well, we all know what happened, but we're not allowed to talk about it. A few years in between the 3 peats. Yeah. They would have won those 2 if he played. Everybody knows that. Hakeem Olajuwon has his 2 rings because Michael Jordan wasn't there, period. But LeBron's also been to 10 finals with 3 different teams, and he's won with 3 different teams. So that can't be discounted.
No, I'm not saying he's a bad player. I'm just saying that when people say he's like better than Jordan, and I'm thinking like, are you?
You can make a case for it. I just wouldn't happen to agree with it.
I think
the best.
I could think he could probably, if he kept his mouth shut, stayed out of all this politics, BS, twitting stuff, just play the game and quit trying to cheat and basically doing the whole flopping thing. I think he would be up there with popularity as Jordan. But
because LeBron James only misses games when he's hurt. He doesn't do the load management thing that a lot of these uber stars do.
Yeah.
And I give him credit for that. It's just he's, like I said, all-time top 5, yeah, probably.
Yep.
But I said that is so subjective because there's so many greats to choose from.
I still like Larry Bird.
Larry Bird he's definitely a top 50. Maybe top 30. But like I said, there have been a lot of really, really great players that have come through the league.
Those are my favorite games, Bird versus Jordan, back in the day. I think it was on NES.
Well, Bird versus Magic was always the big rivalry.
Look at the 90s NBA and even the late 80s, early 90s. Like, you look at all the players on every single team. Every team had their own breakout star. And it was just like, everybody knew them. Even normies knew them, who they were. I didn't watch basketball, but I still knew who they were,
The players that could pass the Nana test would have been Kareem and Magic, Jordan and Bird.
I'm trying to think, was it Muggsy? Was one of the one?
Muggsy Bogues, but nobody knew.
No, but here's the thing. I'm a guy who didn't watch sports, but I knew who he was. That was the guy dressed up as a grandma, right?
No, that was Larry Johnson.
Oh, Larry Johnson?
Yeah, but Muggsy Bogues was the 5'3" guy.
Yeah. But I remember, there was a short.
Larry Johnson was Grandmama.
Okay. Yep.
God, the Yankees would probably have a fit today.
But overall, though, like I said, I like back then. The difference between stars back then and today, especially in basketball, it's a lot of them. There's a lot of them today that are like the ones that do break out and shine. They all have this. They all have the social media presence, which kind of ruins their.
What social media takes away is the larger than life perceptions.
Yep.
That movie stars and athletes used to have. Mickey Mantle was this mythical figure. In reality, he was he was a drunkard, and he chased whores every night until he passed out. But the kids never knew that because he was just because they didn't have the sports channels and the 24/7 news cycles, and he was protected by the press.
Wasn't the same thing with Bob Hope? Wasn't he protected by the press too until different forms of media came out? Because Bob Hope was cheap on his wasn't he stepping on his wife, or was it Newhart? One of the two.
No. Bob Hope was like he was married to the same woman for 70 years.
But there were rumors of flying that he was just
Bing Crosby, I think, did, and beat the wife, but that's neither here nor there. I mean, I said, but these guys, I said, when you saw them once in a while, you'd see a highlight, or you might see them play once a week or whatever, and they were, I said, larger than life. Nowadays, you can watch everything anybody does or says, and you look at and in theory, you can reach out and talk to the biggest stars in the world, whether they respond to you or not. But I mean, you have a way to communicate with them. That didn't exist before.
Yeah. All right. So this week comics, I have 10 books. All right, we'll just go through them. And I think Jeff will be coming in, and he should have some more. I don't know if Zach's gonna pop in. He may pop in, but we'll find out. All right. Where do I want to start here? I guess number 10. Final issue of the series, this little mini series. I guess they're doing another one. At the end of it, when they're one shot in April, it's going to be the Phantom versus the Sky People. versus that's the next one versus the Sky Band. Actually, it was a good series, but like I said, for this it kind of wrapped up pretty cliche. I guess it kind of felt more like a 1940s kind of ending, everything's ending. Basically, the Phantom, having come back from his injuries, is now confronts the bad guy. Comes out there, and the bad guy thinks he has upper hand, and well, he ends up basically getting pulling a gun on the Phantom, and he and his buddy, they start, he talks about how when they're kids they used to fight and stuff, and they have to pick up the sand and stuff. And now he basically goes and he fights the guy. The guy runs into the jungle to try and escape. So Phantom runs in there after him. They have this little fight scene. And the guy boasts, like, it's like, give it up. I'm going to kill you. But as I said, it's basically, it really felt like I was watching a kid's movie, like the Lone Ranger when the big guy and the bad guy fight, And then the bad guy talks about, you're already too late, because the Phantom basically pulls a gun on him, and basically said, and the guy's like, you're not gonna kill me. He's like, besides, my people already gave him the order to kill all the people in the village. He's like, and the Phantom says, like, you're an idiot. Like, you do realize your men are already being taken out by these people. The villagers they're called the Poison Tribe because they're from little on. They're trained to fight, and kill. And so these kids are already taking it to your soldiers. Your soldiers don't stand a chance to them. There's a reason why they don't want outsiders in here, And so the kids show up in here, and they end up taking him hostage, and the bad guy, and they march him to the jungle. And the guy says, like, "Oh, I'll be back, I'll get my revenge." Blah blah blah. And they take him to the cops. Cops home away. But as far as at the end of here, basically the Phantom says, like, oh, yeah, I'm not really worried about that guy coming back to the village, because we're ready for him. And he already knows he's beat. But what worries about is the fact that the people leaving the helicopter that brought them to the island their city, like, he's more worried about that. At the end, it's pretty much kind of like your cliche thing. He's like, I'm still hurt, but I'm fighting with my, my wife wants to insist to feed me, but I'll say, like, I'm too proud for that. So I want to hold my own bowl of soup. And she says, like, after a while, she gets annoyed by him and kind of like he leaves him to himself to heal up. The villagers are pretty much back the way they were. And at the end, it leaves with him just kind of like walking around with he's like, I got my friends, my family, and my love of my life. My life can't be better. So very cliche kind of wrap up to this. Overall, I kind of give it like a little bit. It's a little bit of average. I want to give it a 3.5 stars, almost a 4 out of 5, mainly because it felt like it wrapped up too quickly, and I was not expecting this to be a 5-issue miniseries. Figure, well, we have Dick Tracy going for they're in issue 12 or 13 now. Why can't the Phantom be an ongoing? But instead, we get a miniseries and then another one shot. I don't know if this isn't selling well, and that's why they decided to do it, or maybe Ray Fox was only signed on for a miniseries. I don't know who. So I'm guessing they're just going to keep testing the water with this. But I know Mad Cave has a few other books out right now, but I was hoping for better because I did like the Phantom movie from the 90s. Never was really a big Phantom character fan growing up. The movie is what basically sold me with Billy Zane. But yeah, so I was hoping to like this because I felt, well, Dick Tracy was another. I watched the movie, but I was never a huge fan of the character. So when I read the book they're doing, and it was actually really good. Their Mad Cave. This just fell flat. So it's my number 10. That was this is the Canon White version though, a cover, and it goes for $4.99. Probably a series. If I would have known what I knew back then, I probably wouldn't have picked up the series at all. It's kind of a shame. All right, going into number 9. Number 9, Thundercats Valentine's Day special. No, Chitara and Tiger aren't in this whatsoever, even though it's the main cover. It's a story made about Panthro basically helping people. He talks about. I always have an act for this. I always get involved, with the wrong things, and I have to solve other people's affairs, And so there's these two tribes, like bears or whatever, and they've been at war for a long time. Some of the art here is kind of weird. Like I was like, dude, like these guys, tiny baby head, it's absolute Panthro. But like, yeah, these teddy bears groups of people, like some anteaters or whatever people on Third Earth, they've been warring for centuries. And basically, there's the two warring sides. The queen is in love with the prince, but you find out that somebody killed like the prince. The prince from the other kingdoms, like they're basically from the same kingdom or two tribes. They tried to work together because one side, in order to like survive, they have to like make this fruit. The problem is though, when they make this fruit, in the process of getting it out of the shell, it releases like a toxic vapor. And here it shows this is the stuff they're using. And the problem is that when they cook it, that smoke comes out, it flies around and it actually ends up poisoning everybody else on the other group. So the other side ends up getting poisoned, and so Panthro figures out, that the queen, who basically was being accused of murdering the two princes, like their king, two brothers. Turns out that actually was one of the princes, one of the brothers, the younger brother, who wanted the throne for himself, killed his father, and has been waging war because he wants to take the land over there. Panthro basically goes the other side over there, and is like the one that's basically the one that wants to kill the queen, who's actually innocent in this whole entire thing. He helps him he's like, here, I'm just going to install this filter on your furnace, so every time you cook it, the gases don't go out and then spread out to the other people of the tribe that's what you're war with, and kills them. And he's able to make peace, and at the end of this, you get a happy reunion between the two lovers at the end. So they can finally be at peace again. And so, very cliche. I was really hoping it was going to be a Thundercats, actually with more Thundercats, but it was a Panther story. So I don't know why they have Chitara on the cover. I mean, we know why, because, they want to sell like, hey, the girl's going to be here. But I would have rather had like, hey, if you're going to do this, put out 2 stories in. Because we have actual a romance story between Tigra and Chitara. But we didn't get that here. We got a Panther with the totally other characters, and I was like, that could have been it didn't have to be a Valentine's Day. That could have been something else. But this was through Dynamite. This is cover A. This was $5.99 for 40 pages. All right. Number 8, Supergirl. This actually turned out to be a lot better than I thought it was going to be, Breen. I was getting scared for a hot second. Because this is the cover, the original cover A. I was like, oh no. So it turns out, after basic and the story here, Lena goes with Luna, and they're gonna go apologize to Kara, but Kara's out on a date with this guy, and they keep focusing on the fact that he has that heart-shaped like earring. They're like, what is all about? Turns out, though, that the earring, and Lena finds out, as she's spying on him, that it's actually pink kryptonite. Pink kryptonite basically puts her into a romance for Kryptonians, makes them like fall in love. And yeah, as Linda is pretty much professing her love for this boy, who kind of had figured out that she's Supergirl, and so Lena ends up ripping the guy's earring off, throwing it away. This villain comes out of apparently it was trapped inside the actual like gem, the kryptonite gem. Her name is Nella Nar. She's like, I was like, I perished Krypton's explosion. My spirit is possessing the planet's very bedrock. My soulmate, to whom I was paired by the matchmaking machine, Matricomp, was not so fortunate. I have been ever since. Trapped inside the human's kryptonite fragment. No other Kryptonians to be found until her, Nisa Jarrell, the man responsible for my Matricomp's destruction. So basically, it's another villain. I don't know if she's even a new villain here. This is her, and she wants to battle Supergirl, and so this is where we get kind of like a throwback to the Supergirl CW. Yes, I did watch that. I had a review that with Pixel. So Lena throws a new device that she gave her, and it's the suit that she had in Supergirl. Supposed to it goes on, materialize, and it has a power thing. It's able to withstand kryptonite and everything else, protect her, and yeah, they're able to basically contain the girl, the Lena Arnell or whatever it is, Norel. I forget her name is because that's she's a one-off character for me. And as Supergirl's fighting it, turns out Lena was experimenting with that pink mood slime that was in the previous couple of issues, and she's figured out how to weaponize it. And by taking the pink slime, she gives it to Supergirl, who basically is still kind of pissed at her for what she did in the last issue. Supergirl ends up throwing the pink goop or purple goop slime at the bad guy, and basically imprisons her and stuff. And at the end, they kind of make up her and Lena, but she's like, it's just she's still kind of mad at her, but at the end, it gets really weird because as the girls are gonna make up and kind of get patch over, smooth things over, Supergirl's also kind of still angrier. Connor shows up. So Connor is going to be in the next issue. The Reign of the Superboys. Because back in the city of Kandor, where we left Lesalar, and there was another villain. I can't remember what her name was, too. A lot of these villains, even in Superman books, it's not because it's bad writing. It's because a lot of these villains are one-offs, and I don't really see them ever again in any other book. So overall, I said, it is interesting. But this was $49.99 because I want to get the cardstock variant because I kind of like it more. It's callback to a lot of the romance stuff, Silver Age. But overall, decent story. But I don't think it's worth the $5. Like I said, if you're gonna buy this book, a lot of these books, Supergirl, I recommend getting the trade or at least waiting till these books are going on clearance. Usually, after 6 months or more, they'll drop down for whatever $4 to $3 or $2, so you get more of a deal. And what is up to me 67? No, I will not respond. Be triggered by 67. All right, number 7 here. My book for this week. Actually, no, that was number 7. So Geiger, I went with the cover B by Brian Hitch, and it was story was okay. There is, as I was going through this, I said the previous issue for this wasn't really to my liking. I don't really care about the Northerner, but now they're really ramping up the fact that they're going to have Simon Pure be a part of the series and another character too. So they're really actually close to bringing a huge crossover event, having all the characters together in one spot. But as last issue, German tank fell out, the sky, and at first, Tariq or he's like, doesn't believe him that he's a time traveler and all this stuff. It's kind of weird writing of that. He's still disbelief. Maybe he's just being stubborn because if he figures if he's angry and stuff, he'll forget about his past, his family. But the Northerner explains, hey, these people, they drop me stuff, and for a reason, everything, but in order to keep everything what they do is secret, they keep it in a puzzle. So they have to go inside this tank They'll look inside there for figure out what they actually sent them. And also, Northerner says, like, hey, there's a chance I might be able to actually save your family and stop the unknown war from actually happening. So they go in there, and it's kind of like the way it's set up. It's kind of like a car, and or at least it gets custom scene there. And it's got the Northerner's name on there, and then we also find out that it's got picture of Tyreek and his son, his family. There's a little Junkyard Joe dollar and a Campbell soup. And he's kind of freaking out why the hell is there a picture of my family in there? And then as they're also going there too, they also find another seat in there too that has Simon Pierre's name on it too as well. And then the other one is the other seat. It says what does it say? No, I'm good. Miss Hollow, Holllow. I'm not sure who that is, but she's another name on there. And they also find out that this actually the tank they're in, because they have to go back to August the 36th on a Friday. It turns out that the tank they're in is a time machine. So using the analogy I have, he says basically, and he says we have to go back in time, and we're going to do this. So he has a little punch clock there, sets the date, and I guess they're gonna go back in time and try to stop the war from happening. But before they can do that, someone attacks the tank. So we get this nice shot here from Gary Frank drawing Geiger on the glowing man, gets out of there, and you see what it was. Somebody shot at them. So turns out some of the characters we came across with Ashley in the previous issue that she rescued the kids. These are the kids that she rescued from that trafficking thing. And it turns out that they are called so next issue is going to be called the St. Louis Strays. So, and it's interesting. They said these kids. They said they've never heard of the glowing man. They've only heard of the glowing woman. So maybe we're going to have Ashley appear again. But it shows in the next issue. Says the Norther gives Geiger a glimpse into his past as the unnamed adventure continues in February. So Geiger seeing his family there, and just alive and can't interact with them. So, like I said, this book is starting to get a little good. It kind of dulled for a few issues. I actually liked it better when it wasn't Tariq. I liked it better when it was Ashley. I think it was Ashley Arzan, the glowing woman. She seemed as she was being written better. But said hopefully this book continues to get better and better. I mean, Jeff John had hit a low point for me, but Brian Hitch's art is amazing for this cover. But also, I said the Gary Frank on the interiors. So, like I said, I'm more interested to see when Simon Pierre shows up again and actually meets Geiger. I know it's gonna be probably soon, probably end of this year. Wouldn't be surprised, but looking forward to this. And this was what was it? $3.99 for this. All right. Number 6, Breen, is Babs. The Black Road South. Now, this is issue 2. This is volume 2 of this series. This is Garth Ennis and Jason Burrows. If anybody knows Garth Ennis has a sense of humor, making fun of stuff. And of course, it starts off. I love this issue. It starts off basically making fun of Lord of the Rings. It's like, we're gonna throw the orb in there. It's like, okay. And it's like, now all we have left to do is he says but if this is land, I'm glad with you, sharing with you, Hank. You've been loyal to me through thick and thin. Will you embrace me now, my faithful friend? And he's like, of course I will, Frodo. Pulls his pants on. He's like, what the fuck, bro? I meant a hug, not it's like, oh, you mean you're not gay? I love that. So, of course, here comes Babs. This is on the past. She comes flying by and she knocks Proto off into the volcano and kills him. And then ends up kicking Sam, or I guess he's called Hank in this series, in the crotch. Because he's gonna pull a sword on her. In the present day, the girls are now they rented this dragon because that's the quickest travel, but they don't have much coins, so they got a dragon who basically has talking dragon who has memory damage. So in the middle of the weather, they have to remind him, hey, can you remember to flap your wings? Oh, sorry, I forget. Sorry. And he tells this story, the dragon, how he used to fight for coin because he had all these women that were flocking to him. He had his own little harem thing. And he said after a while, he's like, the problem is that after a while, he got so many women. And he said, when I had a few women that were like being gold and stuff, but as soon as I got more than that, they all fighting amongst each others, and then he says because I kept battling because I had to afford more women, so I had to keep battling, get more coin. And they said eventually because I had so much bad brain damage, I ended up eating one of them, mistaking her for a sheep. And then they all pretty much surrounded me and took my gold, sued me for so I was ordered to give their gold up. And yeah, he's been kind of messed up since then. But I did like the fact though that the horses are get a chance to talk here too. He's because they're flying, and then the horses are basically being carried on the bottom there. And the horses are see, I never did like flying, but they don't care. It's and the other horse is yeah, all they're concerned about is racking up on the off the loft points. Yeah. So, so then they end up getting to this bar here, and they figure this is if there's anybody here on this travel, and there's a land of Morodo kind of land. This is where they'll find the people that are basically that had stolen their money. And as they come in there, and Babs is pretty much trying to hide the fact that she was in the Lord of the Rings. She was hired by this Gandalf dude. They call him Shandor fucking Godstaff, and the fucking quest for the fucking triple orb. And she said yeah, it's yeah, I was tricked. I thought I was gonna get paid, but it turned out to be torture. And you see how everyone just got slaughtered. And they got the hobbits, Legolas, and you got the dwarf, and then you even have I think it's supposed to be Viggo's character there, and then Gandalf just gets killed. She's I don't want to come back here. Again, a bad thing. It's just, of course, because she can never escape this guy. Even in the first volume, there's this guy who's basically been stalking them, or he's madly in love with Babs, and Babs is this guy is a dweeb. Leave me alone. She doesn't know how to tell him to leave her alone. She's too kind-hearted. I think she actually has told him before the fuck off, but he won't leave. But so they end up going. He's hey. He's what do you know? It's somebody pretty much gave me invested us in their coin, and of course that's if you recall in the first issue that the girls got drunk, and then they end up doing something foolish, and they get being basically you could give your money to invest in a quest, and then they did that, because as a gag, and now they're trying to get their money back, and so these are the people that basically was using their adventures, use their money, and they, Garth Ennis goes before is yeah, he's this is our boss, her name is Lilith Lazuli, she's the barbarian queen, and they're what? Yeah. He's and I love how Babs if this is a judgment on that for that Sanj thing, I'd like to share the gods we were only kidding. And basically they want Babs has tragic flashbacks. She wants to just get out of this country. She hates it. Bad things happen to her, and she doesn't want to be around them. So she leaves out there. She walks out, and she's talking to Sword. And this is I can't go back. And he's you realize while we're out here, your partner, she's basically gonna make us go on this quest, And she's yeah, I know, but they said the only way we're gonna get our money back is to steal whatever these fuckers are trying to do. Still, basically rob them blind at the end of their quest. And she says I kind of feel like there's someone watching us out. He's kind of creepy. And it turns out there was a guy watching them, and I think it might be Hank from the beginning, the gay hobbit. So if you're just looking for like just humor in general and just making fun of like fantasy stuff tropes, Babs, I highly recommend it. It's just funny. And yeah, it's like I said, it's you're getting Art Dennis, you're not getting politics and all the weird stuff. It's basically a satirical look at basically adventuring stuff. As far as a fantasy, whether it's a Lord of the Rings or any other high fantasy thing, movie or media that's out there, he kind of like does like a parody of it. So that is my number 6 for this week. Going on to my number 5 here. And what's up to people in the chat? You guys are kind of quiet today. All right. Number 5 this week. Very This has always been bringing every week that this book comes out, a new issue, or every issue. Say general, not every week, but there's always somebody bitching, complaining about Jeremy Adams. And because they're like, oh my gosh, this isn't a DC Coyote tie-in. Why they put a DC Coyote tie-in title on there? I kind of agree with that, but after a while, it's like when you complain about that every single freaking issue, you're not a fan. You're just there to complain about that. There's people who don't like this book because one, they said like, oh, it's not he doesn't respect Mara, blah 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 blah, and then when he does try to respect Mara and stuff, give her a good say, they're like, well, this is boring. Where's Arthur? It's like people just complain about this book, and it's been a pretty good series. So it turns out that they have this character. This is Mara's mother, Crimson Queen Lolana Miranda Coachella, the wife of King Rias. So it's revealed in here, as she's holding people hostage, that back then, before I think it's called Xeris or Zebel was created. Mara's mother actually was trying to lead a rebellion against the king of Atlantis at that time, and her father was like, basically Mara's grandfather was loyal to the king. He was like his sorcerer wizard. So in order he didn't want to kill his daughter. His daughter wouldn't give up the revolt, so he basically traps her in a pocket dimension called Zebel. Created that, and in this the land of Zebel, eventually Mara's mother, they said like her anger kind of quelled down, and then she fell in love, and then Mara was born in this realm. But then something changed one day. While going through a strange vessel, she came across an item. It was called the Tide Jewel, a conduit to the blue, carrying a message from the sea of the god Dagon. Dagon is the one that basically you saw in the very couple of issues here. He was basically an evil god, and so the evil god is now possessing Dagon, or Dagon's possessing her in this form, and until she'd be awakened by some kind of like thing, she was trapped in a statue. And of course, Mara, and it was raised by her father. And then eventually the story is Mara came across, and she met Arthur, and they got married. But it all goes back to, there was a little earring back in the day, back a couple of issues back when they had the pirate issue. There was an earring in there that she gave one to Arthur. So it turns out that this little earring thing is a conduit of Dagon. They're going to use that so they can steal the blue from Arthur and transfer to her, so she has full power of the blue over in this realm. And she does it. But only after we get this nice ass shot, though. She wants her whole goal, the reason why she was banished, that she wanted to basically raise Atlantis to the surface and then conquer the surface dwellers who basically pollute their lands. It was like a whole freaking like Namor plot, in the earlier days. And after pretty much everyone is pretty much attacked, or I guess, well, near the old sea hag that was left over in that thing. She was gonna try and she was left over there to kill anybody who asked about the queen or whatever. And she goes to attack Mara, but instead it's Nearest. Nearest dies her arm, and he's basically like the guy, poor guy. The guy has a thing. He's always had a thing for Mara ever since they're kids, and he's like, yeah, it is like he's even his line, his dying breath. He says like, I am blessed to have known you and to have loved you. Your eyes hold my heart. Arthur is a lucky man. So then she leaves him to go back. Arthur is basically brought forth and seemingly almost and he doesn't know what's going on, but he was basically in the tournament. She pulled him from the tournament, and she was like, "Hey, we're together. We're going to basically she tries to lie to him. She says like, oh father, it worked. I was able to summon you from the tournament. Your kingdom is under attack. Your friends betray you, and the upset your powers." He's like, "What kingdom? What is this place?" And she's like, "All right." She's like, "Our new home," and so she ends up basically in this issue stripping Arthur of his the blue from him, seemingly ripping it out of him because he has the earring on her, that she gave him, the necklace, and brings it and absorbs it to herself. And Arthur is pretty much seemingly dead. But just immediately after this, Mara shows up, and Mara's like basically going to throw down with her. And it's like, what do you do to my husband? My king. It's like, and at the end, the epilogue, from the blue we came, from the blue we shall return. Like the tides, like the days with nights we die, and we live again. And it shows preview for Emperor Aquaman. And it looks like a kid. It looks like Arthur washing up on the beach. So I'm not sure where this is going, but I'm staying on for the ride because this is a fun book. And now the fact that Jeremy Adams is able to focus more on this issue, this series, the title, because for those who don't know, he was working on Flash Gordon. Now his run's done over there. Dan Adams taking over that title. So now you're going to see exclusively him at DC only for Jeremy Adams. So I expect this title to improve more now. His attention isn't divided. He can focus more on this. So overall, this book was pretty good. This is issue 14, and it was only $4. I'm not sure what DC has plans for Aquaman, but I hope it's not where he's just replaced by Aqua Boy or kind of like they're doing with Superman, where Superboy is taking over. I'm like, I don't want that. All right. Going into number 4. Number 4, the relaunch of Moon Knight. New title. Back to number 1. Same crew. This is my Marc Spector, Moon Knight, Jed McKay, and Pramanik and Rachel Rosenberg. What? You okay over there?
Yeah, that's it. That's my take on relaunching Aqua. How many of these relaunches has Jed McKay been on? There's like 4 now.
Same as much as Steve Orlando, but the difference is that Steve Orlando can't write, and he gets more work than him. But I agree. I'm tired of the relaunches, but honestly, the story hasn't dipped in quality. I don't like to keep doing the change of the name. We Avenged the Moon Knights. Now it's Marc Spector Moon Knight. But you guys, but you can think about it though. We originally had Moon Knight. Then we did have a Marc Spector Moon Knight with Chuck Dixon back in the title. But those were the difference is that those back in the day, those were longer runs. But then we got towards the 90s. Remember, it was like 4-issue miniseries. Then they relaunched again. I almost feel like Moon Knight's been relaunched more than any other title over at Marvel.
Well, there's a difference when you're doing a miniseries.
Yeah.
And you tell them it's a miniseries. But these 12, 15 issues and then relaunching with the same team.
How long was
the same story?
Sure, yeah, that's the difference. Is those were different creators, different titles going on, different titles. So, but this is the same creator coming on and just keeping. So, okay, so all I say is that for this, I expect if I get a Moon Knight omnibus, it should be called the Jed McKay Moon Knight omnibus, and it has only Jed McKay stories in there because he literally has more Moon Knight relaunches than any other writer. But I'm just glad that, hey, I'll just say I'll take a relaunch than having someone else jump on who's worse. I did because so far Jed McKay has been faithful to the source material. I like the fact that we still have Chitara, or not Chitara, but Tiger in here, and it's actually been a decent story. So it starts off with basically in this we have Marc doesn't know. Marc's working in some kind of office as a mail clerk boy. We have no idea what's going on, but he's got this guy who basically keeps criticizing him. He's like, yeah, you're a good job, you're a good worker, but and he's kind of grilling. He's like, hey, there's this one name he's supposed to deliver mail, and there's this one he doesn't know where Jean Paul Duchamp is. I'm not sure who that is. A character. Is that that's not the guy from the X-Men? Is that Phantom? Okay, what his name was? Phantom X. It was.
That was from X-Men.
Yeah, is that who Jean Paul Duchamp is?
I don't know.
Can't remember, but anyway.
Call Doc.
I'm sure Doc will have words about this if he reads this. Probably not. I don't think Doc's reading Moon Knight, but so in this scenario, it's revealed that basically Moon Knight's basically he's been taken hostage. They're trying to manipulate him. He's inside this this large facility, and they're trying to break him. And one guy just wants to kill him, but the other guy and they can't figure out why every time they have basically there's a guy who's been giving up fear toxin, and they keep updating up everything up it because somehow Marc is able to overcome the toxin, and his personality starts returning, and every day. So basically, and Marc's brainwashed life right here. Every time he comes back to work, he gets a bowl of milk, in a cereal, and he basically watches his favorite show. Now, to him, there's a TV show on, and it's just Adventures of Moon Knight. It's a cartoon series. But to them, they're all questioning, why the fuck is he watching a blank TV? He's like, he seems to be enjoying something, and they're kind of worried about that. That guys, don't worry about it. Rest assured that please reassure me so that I reassure my superiors that you cannot force Marc to do it. And then the other guy says, you can't force Marc to do anything, so you have to break him. But I love this though, because it just goes into his sanity. So he's watching this show, make believe thing, Moon Knight, and he's just enjoying it. But he has amnesia. He doesn't remember that who he actually is, Moon Knight. But he has bits and pieces of memories. And each day they keep bringing him in and yelling at him, complaining that he couldn't deliver this one piece of mail to Jean Paul Duchamp. And eventually, they're afraid of him rebelling, and Marc starts having conversations with the Moon Knight thing at the thing. He's like, you do realize what's going on? He's like, we can do. It's like you need to kill these people and we're violence. He's like, what? I can't do that. I'm just a lonely guy. And then suddenly there's a problem. One of the guards there has actually been murdered, and as Marc's delivering mail, he sees the blood there. He's like, oh dear. He's like, oh no. He's freaking out a little bit. And turns out his buddy, Zodiac, is there. I think that's what his name is, yeah. And he's there to break Marc out of this prison. And he gives Marc, he's like, here, you're going to need this. And he's like, what do you mean? He has a box, and he opens it up, and it's the Moon Knight costume. And it's like, you know what this is, you know what to do. It's like, he's like, yeah, I'm willing to bet that fear juice only goes so far. Is because I think once you realize what they took from you, what they made you into, once you realize what you should be, that wild dog we see you, that the wild dog will see you through. And so get these cool page art. Here's, I love this. Marc's basically remembering things, and then we're gonna get a nice little team up with them at the end because they're gonna have Moon Knight doing a Titanic team up at the end of this. So looking forward to the next issue. Like I said, these never really disappoint me. It's just called Agency Part 1. It's Dev Malia Pramanik is the artist, and Rachel Rosenberg is the colorist with Jed McKay. Yep. So, because I'm also curious, like, okay, Mark's been here taken hostage, so, but where are his friends? That's what I want to know. And looking forward to reading more of this. This was $4.99 because of the number one issue. But then again, I think these have always been $5 now, $4.99. They jumped the price up on them. But number 3 is the Rocketfellers by Peter J. Damasi and Francis Manipal. This has been a fun series, and at the end of it's kind of a depressing issue because they last issue, Roland was his sister was basically trying to take him back to the past and hold hostage, and he basically detonates the suit, and they're going to the wreckage, and all they come across is Roland's sister, who has no memory of who she is, but now that Roland's gone. The dad wants to kill her, but the wife, Roland's wife, basically reminds like, "Hey, that's your daughter. You can't kill her." He's like, "Well, I don't know what's left of her." But so basically, she has no clue. They take her with her, and they go to this diner. While they're in there, Rhonda's diner, and while they're talking to her, they basically convince her that she's a veteran and she's a soldier, and she actually basically says like, so as Ray says, like, so we're all from the future, and I'm a veteran of a space force kidnapped by a rogue time travel team agent of a secret program in this era of Earth, and you are my family. Come back in time to rescue me. And like, but my brother Roland's died. And she's like, missing, not dead. So they basically swapped out Roland for his sister, and you still have the family dynamic. So I'm curious about where this book's going to go, and it's going to be kind of interesting because his sister is the cause for all this mess, and meanwhile, everyone's kind of mourning, like the loss of Roland. The kids too. The daughter starts trying to stay cheery. She's drawing, coloring and stuff. The guy in his RV comes up, and he kind of looks at him, kind of weird and stuff. It kind of disrespects them, and the Rhonda pretty much says like, yeah, I was like, you got, hey, she's a veteran, she shows some respect. She's like, whatever, and the guy's like, whatever. Back at the crash site where they originally did the time jump and landed there's these security agents kind of show up. I guess they're from the Time Bureau or something like that, and they're trying to hunt down, Roland and his family, and I think I actually they might be trying to hunt down Ray, because we don't know where Roland is. All we know is that they're going by and they're basically cleaning up anybody or taking on anybody who may have been exposed to basically kind of like a Men in Black kind of thing. So the family ends up going driving their truck. They found this guy basically who is like the jerk. Turns he bought food at the diner, brings it to everybody who's been living out there off the grid, and with they saw a little RV camp. The family decides to go in there and basically steal his RV while he's taking a shit. That's kind of funny. And what are you doing? It's like, oh yeah. He's like, who knows? You could drive my car. It's like, oh, see. And I love that the daughter's like, I see London, I see France, I see your underpants. And then they kick him out, and they steal his RV. And as they drive on, like the dad's talking about, it's like, I don't know if I can even trust her back there. And she's like, she's a loose cannon. If she regains her memory and tries to murder all of us, she's still full of nanobots. And the son, Roland's son, is pretty much back there crying. So he blames himself because the last thing he said to his dad is like, I hate you, would you love me, leave us alone, you ruined our family and stuff. And so he feels guilty, and the mother kind of comforts him and goes to bed. The daughter draws the cover, which is the cover of the book here. That's where this comes from. She drew a Christmas card of the family, and she's like, I'm gonna give the daddy, when we see him, and just like the daughter doesn't really understand that that the dad could be dead, so she's all at that age, like 5 or 6. And then basically, as I said, if they keep going there, back at the diner, the Men in Black show up with their little sleep gas gun, and they're basically trying to find the family. And it says they basically head over to next stop Olympia, which is their They're heading back home. And next issue is going to be 0 Hour. There was, I'm trying to think. There wasn't in the diner. There was a scene I saw in here. Somebody was actually, it's the gas station. In the gas station, the guy, he's reading a copy of Rook. He's like, oh, I wish I had one of those crazy masks. So some product crossover placement for Rook. That's kind of cool. But I'm not sure what this is, but it says Money Can't Buy Everything, $1 trillion kid, coming in June. Doesn't say who it is. That obviously connected to the Ghost Machine, but this was a fun issue. This is covered by Francis Manipul, who's all the interior artists, and this one for $3.99. Definitely recommend this. Moon Knight is close to the champion of relaunch series. Second place is Captain Marvel. First place, as far as I can tell, is German is Iron Man. Ah, see, nice. I just know there's a lot of like from the 2000s. A lot of series kept getting relaunched after that first volume. I think, over at DC, Wonder Woman's on volume 7, or at least 2016 was the one we were reading. That was volume 7 or 5, or it's just crazy how many relaunches are with new teams. All right, and then we get this kind of thicker issue here, but this is the Mortal Legend Batman. This is issue 6, is the final of the miniseries here, but they are at the end. They do kind of lead to that they might bring in a new series, introduce a new character, at least for this series. It's a familiar character, but in this we left off basically. It's revealed that all these back in the old world Gotham, they discovered this dark matter portal which caused all these problems, and the whole series is basically Bruce Wayne wanting to shed himself of all his weaknesses, created these altered shadow versions of himself, which are basically like his rogue gallery. There was a Poison Ivy, there was a Bane, and basically like a Mr. Freeze, all these different villain stuff he had to fight against. And the last one he comes across was a Joker version of himself. And that Joker version ended up stealing his belt, which basically turns him into the Batman, Immortal Legend Batman. So him and Tommy, who were kind of betrayed, kind of left for dead, end up going back into leaving and trying to go into old world Gotham, which is built under the ruins of the old Gotham is underneath the new Gotham. But this is very much Kamen Rider, which is kind of a new, fresh take on Elseworld stuff. We got the Batman Who Laughs, basically a Kamen Rider thing going against Tim, Drake Robin, and Nightwing, Dick Grayson, and they're doing their different like moves and stuff like you'd see in like a Kamen Rider. If you watch it back in the 70s, they'd always announce their moves they're gonna do. Kind of where Power Rangers kind of came off of was a Kamen Rider back in the day, in the 70s. So Bruce and Tommy Elliott are going to Old World Gotham, and they're gonna go. Basically, Bruce wants to enter the gate again because only a few were worthy back in the day, and that's why they sealed it. And he says, "Look, well, I need to go in there and get basically guess Geeky's having problems. He's popping in, yeah. So only a few can get in there. So basically, Bruce wants to go in there and he wants to create a new morpher."
Hi, looks like I'm here.
Yeah, 3 times.
Sorry, I was just saying that I couldn't access it and things. So.
We're trying to keep you out. That's why. So after Tommy's going to go in there. Tommy's like, you can't trust you. The last time we did this, you caused this mess. That's why we have all these different shadow things, and you just kind of ruin things. So Tommy says, I'm going to go in there. I'm going to harness energy and create a new Power Rangers, but of a new suit over. And meanwhile, we have Robin and Nightwing are still going against the Batman Who Laughs Kamen Rider thing. And then eventually Barba steps in. because in this world, James Gordon was killed by the Joker, kind of shadow version of Bruce Wayne, and so now we have like kind of the Bat family together versus the evil version of Bruce Wayne. Tommy goes into the portal first, the Dark Matter Energy portal, but it fries his mind. And Bruce goes in there, and Bruce goes in there. It's the second time he's going in there. So the first time he went there, it's caused the problem. He basically separated himself from all his different weaknesses to make him like the perfect Batman. So he's going there again. He's confronted by the entity, and the entity basically he's like it says like it's like, what do you think I exactly am? He's like you're my shadow self, the real one. He's like, oh child, I'm nothing so meager, nor do I have anything to do with you. You do inspire some curiosity in me though. I look forward to following your journey, and I very much look forward to your end. So he throws Bruce out of there. The mysterious entity. Bruce has what he needed energy to create a new belt. And as he leaves, Tommy is kind of trying to stay. He's like, and the other entity that was in there says, we can't have another one sharing what, and sharing what, and then it says silence him, leave only hush. So they're setting up for a hush being in the next Kamen Rider series. Bruce basically shows up with a new belt, and it's like come the night, and he's gonna take down the Joker version of himself. And they have the kind of epic kind of like battle here. Bruce actually takes the dark energy sword that the Joker had used and throws it into him, and Bruce like kills him, or not that kills him, but pretty much wounds him. But then he uses his special move, which is basically if you've seen Iron Man use his chest beam, unibeam. That's what Bruce does. He uses a unibeam, the bat signal, and this vaporizes that version of himself, the evil clone. And at the end, Bruce pretty much says, like, he's like, I'm retiring. Now the device is there. I'm leaving. He wishes the rest of them good. We find out when he's in the satellite thing here that the version we saw in space, which we thought was Mr. Freeze, turns out to be the real version of, or not real version, but the kid version, the Bruce Wayne that witnessed his parents die, that age 12. And it's revealed. He says, like, he's like, I always suspected you were the good version of me, but he's like, he's like, as our first encounter, I could tell you weren't malicious. I thought you were you didn't need to go. Says, but now that I know that it shall exist in this universe long enough to become a permanent connection to the Shadowverse, you'll start spawning shadow monsters uncontrollably, and you'll be a danger to everyone. It's like, so then the basically says, he's like, well, I can't say. I'm gonna, but he says, hey, before I go, don't be a dick. Don't make this like we're stuck and frozen in time. Move forward, And it's like it's like I have to go. I want you to live. I want you to be. Want to be so you can live. So you can move on. That's what I want. I want to go and believe there's more than just us, just me, than being frozen in this moment forever, Bruce. So Bruce basically comes with the rest of the team. Kind of sits out Barbara and Dick Grayson are. It almost seems like they're kind of together. I didn't get the hint earlier, but it seems like they're dating in this universe now, or at least they are now. But and Bruce basically says, I'm retiring, I'm stepping away, and hey, and there's like, she's like, Barbara, you can't do that. That's not enough. There's still shadow people out there. More people are gonna die if there's not. He's like, well, I don't know if I. I don't know. I think it's okay if the legend for an edge of the land, as long as someone's in his place. So she takes over for him. We have Batgirl teaming up with Robin and Nightwing, leading the charge to the next mission. And Bruce kind of like gives his retirement, but he still has another morpher. So if he ever returns to go back, because Alfred's like, is this really want to do? Kind of sit here. He's like, it's like, retirement. He says retirement comes. He's like, well, I appreciate that compliment, but it's not a retirement. It's just a different path, a quieter path for now, Alfred. Quieter for now. And it leads off with until we have Red Hood being teased for another storyline. So I said, this has been fun for me. This was $4.99. To me, this is the better Batman title that's out there right now. I'm not a fan of the Matt Fraction run. I don't care for Tom Taylor on Detective. For me, this has been just a fun story. So if you're fans of Kamen Rider, for the, especially a little more the millennials that grew up watching that, or even some of the people who watched the 1970s Kamen Rider back in the day of the Japanese show, this is pretty much a homage to that, and it's just fun. And this is Kyle Higgins and Matt Groom and Eric DeRosso team for this. Definitely recommend. Number one book though for tonight though is going to be Transformers, number 29. The last we left off, Megatron just kills one of the Autobots that was kind of like, enjoying nature in the middle of like the woods there, and then it comes up and just crushes his head and then starts drinking from his body. That's how we start off. Fucker is just like, he's like, oh yeah, don't worry, your sacrifice isn't in vain. I'm going to slurp every energon out of your body. I'm like what the hell? So then we get Megatron, from Optimus Prime, and then we get this epic battle through the series. It's Autobots once again versus Megatron, and like one shall stand, one shall fall, and to the point where Megatron basically wants to, he's going to try and take out Prime. He's going to kill him, but then there's interference from the new Transformer. It's just an all-out brawl between the Decepticons and Autobots. We get and you get this epic battle, which you saw on the thumbnail, where all the Transformers versus the Decepticons. Just fantastic. Art in here, Dan Mora doing art. Meanwhile, back at the base, Autobots base, they're being attacked. We got RC and we got Ultra Magnus who are basically trying to defend the place. Where Shockwave is being held hostage. Shockwave is released from his prison, and then Devastator decides to transform the Combine in there, and it's just all out, just crazy wreckage. We got Bruticus is another Decepticon. Decepticons have the two Constructibots that basically like they're on their team. Where they're like 5 different robots that combine together because it's huge robots. And it's just straight up just carnage. A whole entire issue. It's just battle. That's all it is. There's no mention of Carly or Spike. Just straight up violence, man. This has been kind of, we've been waiting for this. All these issues building up, and like I say, this has been fun. The last time I saw I had as much fun with the Transformers was basically issue 6 of the run with Daniel Warren Johnson. But we also got Thundercracker is about to get attacked by Megatron. Megatron, because Thundercracker joined the Autobots until Megatron has a psychotic breakdown. We saw him having that in the beginning of Robert Kirkman's run from his torture from the Skrulix characters or like squid things we see over in Void Rebels right now. So he's having psychotic breaks. This allows them to get the upper hand. Songway comes in and basically carries Megatron off the safety, and it's just full on, just straight up, just action art. So if you're a Transformers fan and looking for a lot of battle damage robots, this is your issue right here. At the end, though, as Optimus is going to go after and finish the job with the Decepticons after he's battling on them. Well, we get a surprise guest back from Cybertron. Is Alita 1, who basically is like, she's become like the Karen in this series. That's what I love about it. She's the one that whines that she thinks she feels betrayed. She's like, Optimus Prime, it's a long time since you've seen me. Now you must answer to me for your crimes, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just thinking, like, he's going to pimp slap her if he's smart and just knock her down. Let's be knock her down to her size. But overall, awesome issue. Like I said, Transformers I grew up was the 80s cartoon. I watched that as a kid with my brother, and I had like the movies on VHS. So, the parents would like copy back in the day. You could do that if you had the technology. You could copy VHS to VHS, or no. Plus, you could record stuff off TV too. So I just grew up with that. I grew up with the toys. I never was really into the Marvel or even the IDW stuff. I said what really got me more into this is the fact that he went back to G1, the show, and just amped up the violence a little more. And just that's the reason why I'm really enjoying this story. But yeah, I hope to see more of what's going on with the kids. But unlike the current Godzilla movies, there's no humans in this. It's just straight up what you want. Monsters or robots, That's what I like in those stuff. Is this because if this had been like based off the movies, you'd see like 10% of it would be like the robots and be all about Carly and Spike and just be about them. But I thought this was a really well deserved or well paced issue, and just leading up to this basically the breaking point. So definitely recommend. This was cover A, and this was $3.99. So definitely recommend this book. And that's all I have for this week. Breen, do you have anything?
No. Nah, the Doom Patrol finally came in, but that's the one thing I got.
Okay. We can show the book if you want to.
Yeah, I'd have to put a shirt on.
Thanks for letting me know.
Well, you asked. I answered.
Well, speaking of a guy who doesn't have a shirt on.
There you go. I got one. All right. For some reason, the fact that Diamond used to not deliver to my store all the time, now it's Lunar that is always missing, deliveries to my store.
Game Alliance has basically started taking over, so they're going to, for a lot of stuff, I noticed. So I'm going to start getting Xenoscope books through Game Alliance.
So we only there was no DC and none of most of the independents. So I got 2 books, and one of them I wouldn't have gotten if I had gotten stuff.
What, for those meddling kids?
The one I got was this.
You got the 1 in 20, I think it is.
Yeah, I have no idea what the Hell Kitchen thing is.
It's a variant. It looks like a 1 in 25.
Yeah. Is it some sort of thing that's going on that
I don't know what the Hell Kitchen thing is though. There might be an event coming up, or it could be a variant thing. Like sometimes they're like, remember they had like Overwatch stuff, or Marvel Rivals covers and stuff. So yeah, I'm not sure.
But I did sort of like this, even though I was just getting a little pissed off about the reboot again.
We all are, but the way I look at those, I'm just glad they didn't throw somebody else that's worse on there, like Alyssa Wong.
The art was pretty good, so we'll see. And then I was just relatively curious, so I got this.
Oh, nice!
And it wasn't bad.
Who's the writer?
Paknadel, Paknadel.
Okay, sounds familiar.
It looks like they're doing. It's not the Reavers, is it? It's who is it? They're reforming the. What do you call it?
X Factor?
No, the people that were killing all the X-Men.
The Sentinels and stuff?
No, the humans. I guess from the fall of the X-Men or the Mutant Massacre or something like that, they were. The guy is creating these new.
Bulver Trask with his some of that stuff, like the
not
the race group they had. I remember the cartoon. I don't know what it's called though, but it was like the human or something like that. It's human
Reavers, the Reavers.
Oh, the Reavers.
Yeah, so they're redoing the Reavers, and so Cyclops says he was going to. They're just finishing up, going after some AIM people. Did you go through this?
I don't have that book.
He was going after some of the Reavers with Magic and someone else. And they got caught, so he takes them out, but then he gets a message when he gets back to Alaska. It's Magic and Kid Omega, and then Juggernaut. When he gets back to Alaska, there's a message from somebody, and he goes to the person he used at some what do you call it? Orphanage that he was in when he was a kid. Talks to her for a bit, but then they also go to the person doing the new Reavers, and he gets shot down because they see him, they shoot him down, and they're hunting a couple of Reavers that escaped, and he crashes, and now he has no visor. And
what was that Miss Marvel in the black costume advertisements? I just saw that.
Higher, further forgotten Captain Marc, darker.
I mean, it's a step up if she's going back in that costume. I see that day of that ever even making a variant.
Yeah, Paul Jenkins is Captain Marvel Dark Past, #1.
Paul Jenkins? Dude, I'm sold.
The
Guys,
past always catches up, April 2026.
The guy did the Sentry. He's coming back to write the Sentry again. So, looking forward. Honestly, I might pick that issue up. I just hope it's not like a bait and switch. Like, oh yeah, she's on the bait costume. Like, oh, you bastard.
But so then I got a couple of orders, and one of them came in. I think it was Tuesday, but then they didn't drop it off. Then I got one yesterday. They didn't drop it off, so I had to go in today to the post office and pick them up. So I can do a couple of unboxings here. I used to have a old postman who just bring the stuff up and leave it. But
use your Hulk strength. or cut yourself. Whatever gets me more ratings.
I think the cutting myself will get a little bit more ratings.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
But who knows?
I'm not worried. We'll be fine. You won't.
All right. Speaking of Zenescope, we don't get them at my shop because of a different publisher.
You get some Robin Hood?
Huh?
What'd you get? Tales of Terror? Ah, damn.
Nope. Tales of Terror.
Yep.
And it looks like these aren't in order, so I'll just show them. Well, I got a little
sticker.
Ooh. 2026 with that's who is she? Is she the Van Helsing? Is that
that's Liesel Van Helsing, the daughter of Abraham Van Helsing.
Yes. So we have Grim Tales of Terror. That's number 10. $12.
You order these off the actual the Zenescope site?
Yes.
Yeah.
11. I like that. That's like this girl that I met at the bar the other night.
Oh, nice. Looks more like Hellraiser.
Yes. First movie. Number 8.
Yeah.
7. Ichiban.
Itchy Butts. Yeah.
And then we have
the Phoenix version of Robin.
Number 3. So I just basically, if you haven't figured it out yet, I just got
Tales of Terror, yeah.
All 12.
Those have actually been pretty decent compared to the EC ones they've been putting out.
These are so much better. And the art in here is up to Grim.
It's what you expect from Zenescope.
Yes. The very good art. And then number 5 and number 4. So I've got those to read, and I have one more. This one is going to take a little bit more unbox, a little bit more, because these people decided to make sure that it was secure. Whoa, do not cut towards myself.
Yes, always cut away from yourself. or invest in scissors.
Ooh, yes, it's a hardback. Which I ordered. And Space Bastards, Volume 1.
That's interesting.
I don't know if you know anything about this. I just
No.
It is basically it's even autographed. Because then if you open it up, you got a couple of little
Posters, mini posters, pretty prints. Yeah.
and then if I look, it's autographed.
By who?
Peterson, I think.
Well,
I really can't tell, but it's
but
Peterson.
who is the writers on this? So
That is Peterson. Let me see. Where is the title page on here? Yeah, Space Bastards, Eric Peterson and Joe Aubrey. 2020 all rights reserved. So printed in China. So basically, this is set in some sort of a future and out in the universe, and it's a kind of, if you have a package that needs to be delivered, you get these people to do it, and you have to pay a certain amount of money, and so it's sort of like these are kind of like really rough and tumble people.
Yeah.
And you have to try and do it, but there's other people who are trying to get it, take it from you. And the more people that take it, the more money it is. So they're trying to, there's always people trying to take that from you to get it so they can make the delivery and make money.
So it's like space couriers, and like basically like and people are trying to rob them all the time. So they're trying to navigate.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a satire kind of book, space adventure.
Yeah, and it's got some pretty good art.
Yeah, I've never heard of these people before. So like I said, they must be new artists.
And it sounds pretty interesting. And so I mean, the art I saw that was,
and it's a large book too. So it's like
it's if you put it up against a.
It looks like the size of the absolute editions you get of like the class and stuff, or Image was doing them.
So you have this front side, and of course
the back side. I don't need to see that.
I'm trying to cover the back side and the back side.
Yeah, keep your hands on the back side. Keep rubbing it.
And that's all that I got.
Alrighty then.
This is volume 1. I'm assuming there's probably going to be more than a volume 2, but that might be volume 2. I'll have to read this one to see if I like it.
Oh, wrong one.
So
and alrighty though.
Oh, and it came with this too.
Ooh,
a sticker.
Now I want to see if there's a Brave Star cartoon, like if this one ever made a badge. Oh man. Yeah, there wasn't really many books out this week that I really enjoyed. The ones I got 10 books, but I said like a few of them I enjoyed more than the other ones, but it's kind of slim pickings. I don't know. See how long I'm no longer in the comic book business if this goes the way, because like I said, I had Transformers is an ongoing. Immortal Legend Batman's done, so that was a miniseries. Rocketfellers I'll still keep getting. And then what else I had? Moon Knight, I'll still keep pulling that. Aquaman, I'm going to pull that. And then Babs has been pretty good. That's going to be a miniseries. Geiger, I'm hoping that this continues to stay good. Supergirl is kind of like up in the air at this point. And then Thundercats is a book series that I kind of stopped pulling, mainly because I didn't like where it was going. You take away the main character line on the book, and for several issues, it's kind of like, why am I even reading this? I want him like yelling Thundercats, ho, and like sight beyond sight. I still haven't seen a sight beyond sight with the sword. He hasn't done that shit. So it's like, if you're gonna do a Thundercats book, you gotta have it where he's actually doing stuff he did in the show, You know, and you can add new stuff if you want to. It's just like, man, you got to keep the basics that made the show great. You know, him using his grappling hook that he has on his gauntlet. You know, but at least Panther has been pretty good by Ed Brisson. But it's been Declan Shavely is the one that's kind of like been writing that. He's the one that wrote that shitty Terminator book series, which kind of like, how do you mess up Terminator? That is the most easiest concept. Terminators are bad. They want to murder people. You have a good guy. But instead, he did like it was like victim of the week and time and space. And it wasn't even connected. It was, I don't know.
Well, they sort of did it. They sort of messed it up with the last couple of Terminator movies. Overall, those were messed up.
It was better than those. It was better than that crappy one they did, where John was actually like a Terminator. It was better than that. If it was Genesis.
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking from like pretty much anything from like 3 was okay. 4 on was just horrible. I
didn't mind the ones with it was a Dark Fate or what it was. I didn't mind it. Everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, so horrible!" And then look, he only kills the border agent, blah blah. And he crossed illegally. Yeah, like people have no sense of humor left anymore. But overall, though, there's still a few books coming out. I'm trying to see what's coming out for next week. I think there's actually some really good books coming out next week that I'll enjoy. But this week kind of felt like, meh, whatever. The only good thing is that I'm gonna have like 50 something or 55 or 50 something degrees next couple days. I think on Friday or tomorrow maybe. But next week I'm looking at books that the end of Ultimate Spider-Man is out next week. We got World's Finest, that looks pretty good. Or the Dark Mirror kind of version. What else is that? G.I. Joe is out next week. Looking forward to that. What is next week? There really isn't much next week from I'm looking at. There's other Thundercats. The Darkness #3 comes out. The miniseries. Wow, there really isn't much for next week at all.
I will be on time next week because I have that day off.
Cool. Yeah. Next week, I only have a couple books pulled. I have Vampire Armageddon, Ultimate Spider-Man, Thundercats, 24, G.I. Joe, and The Darkness. And then, of course, The Walking Dead Deluxe. But yeah, there isn't really much out next week for comic books. It's getting slim pickings for me now. People are like, well, that's because you don't want to read the other books. You don't want to read the Marvel books, the X-Men books. I'm like, it's okay. You know? If I checked out any of the X-Men books that are ongoing right now, would probably be the Gail Simone run. That's probably the one I could stomach the most. The other ones are kind of dull to me.
I don't recall ever reading a Gail Simone book. I mean, I may have, but from what I understand, she's hit or miss. She's either really good or she just gets really heavy-handed with her politics. One of the two.
That's been the case ever since the social media and stuff, since 2016, I guess, when Trump took office. Something snapped in a lot of these people, and they just speak. And I don't know if it's because they got. Well, we kind of know it is. There's a whisper network, and if you don't tote the line, and virtue signal, it's almost like when I hear about like comic books, the whisper network. It's like the Hell's Angels. You have to commit a felony in order to be in the club.
Yeah.
So you have to make yourself look bad in order to be part of the group.
What's that one that she did? Someone was talking about like the Secret Six run that she did was supposedly incredible, and also, or was it the? And then I guess the Batgirl thing that she did was incredible. I haven't read either one.
She worked on Birds of Prey with Ed Benes. That was before all this politics stuff. Yeah. So yeah, she was really good. It's just that CDS or whatever or whatever is telling them, hey, you should do this. Yeah, she got some bad advice, But then again, like I said, I don't know how much editorial has command over these writers. It seems like they have free reign to do whatever they want, for the most part. Like Mark Waid, like I said, Mark Waid's out there, spurging and all that stuff, saying all this crap, and they didn't have to cancel him because he could still write good stories without putting it in his politics or his political beliefs into the books. Where you got the other woman who was doing that Red Hood book was talking about was saying some really bad anti-American stuff and just talking about 9/11. It's just like really fucked up. But yeah, I don't know. It's what the future DC looks a little bit better than Marvel right now. But Marvel, what I'm waiting for right now is I think it's end of February. I think or beginning of March, we're gonna get the Dimension Percy ongoing Punisher series.
That from the what they just had from that last Punisher series, that looks like it might be pretty good.
I hope it's a Red Band series though. That's what I want. I don't want another miniseries. I want an ongoing Red Band Punisher series.
Now the one I'm looking forward to, it is a DC, and I hadn't read a lot of the last stuff, but I'm really looking forward to the new Firestorm series.
Mm-hmm.
It's got Ronnie Raven. I really want that to be good because that was one of the first comics that I read was Firestorm, and I loved it.
Yeah,
and I want it to be good, but we'll see.
Oh, so bad. I guess it doesn't that. But yeah, well, we'll find out. But right now, I think we'll just end it right here because there's not really much to talk about. Yeah, unless Reno wants to start talking about wrestling, but I don't want to rant and rave about AEW or even WWE right now. I kind of want it's gonna go. I meant like that. Just today for me. It's been kind of like one of those days you just kind of feel like you just want to stay in and just kind of sleep a little bit, have some food, and just relax. Kind of a dull, not a depressing day, but kind of one of those days where it's like, I don't know, you just feel kind of lethargic. So, but yeah, like I said, I was kind of like I was coming off a high like last night going into this, and then all of a sudden today is just like a kind of crash, and I don't know what it's all about, but it's neither here or there for this conversation. But overall, yeah, this week's books were kind of bad. Now, there was one series though that I know it's on the cover. I was hoping that maybe you would have had it, your DC books. We'll probably bring it up, but it was DCKO number 4 came out this week. DCKO, and basically a lot of fans are not, I guess, more so mixed on that than they are in unifying on Jamie Adams' Aquaman books. You know, apparently, I said I don't know if you want me to spoil it for you or not, but I could just tell you who wins the tournament. And I'm going to say, in this tournament, it feels so out of character. Like these aren't even the main universe characters. So what we got with Lex Luthor, I'll just say, throughout the series, the DCKO, Lex Luthor has been full on villain. He was, he was a good guy. They're keeping that in the Joshua Williamson Superman story books. And then also this event came out, and it turned him into a full on villain. Bruce basically from the events of Night Fight, Bruce found his way back into the tournament, shows up, and it's revealed that Darkseid has actually been controlling the absolute Batman characters, people there, and they're able to temporarily free them from control. Darkseid crawls out of basically Booster Gold's mouth. See him crawl out like a demon, like the demons come out, and he's a giant Darkseid. And they're getting ready to basically attack him, and it ends with Lex Luthor pretty much stabbing Superman in the back with kryptonite. And after Batman pretty much kicks out of the we had Batman versus Batman, you had normal Batman versus Absolute Batman, and the Absolute Batman got his ass kicked by normal Batman, which I was so glad. But I was surprised because it's Scott Snyder he's writing both of these. This is his story, but he's also writing the Absolute Batman. But anyway, though, and it said it was just a weird ending. I won't say any much more about that. I do, if you guys want to pick it up, it is like $6. But yeah, Lex Luthor wins the tournament. I guess a lot of people. I'm not paying attention closely as far as the past events, but I guess people are saying that the brackets were kind of like were shitty and rigged, and they had a bait and switch. People thought that Superman or even Batman was going to win it, but then having Lex Luthor win it all was kind of dumb. Yeah, so.
But if he's full on villain, wouldn't he allow it so the Darkseid would take over?
I
Who knows?
don't know either, man. Let's see here. Actually, do I? Actually, I want to see if this Comixology have it. I'll just show you on Comixology. Sometimes they have the new books up there, but do they have DCKL? Just 1 second.
I was never really too excited about that whole thing. Most of the DC's last events have just kind of sucked. So I'm just not too excited on them.
Right? DCKL. Let's see if they have it.
2, 3, 4.
Okay, they do have it.
5, 6, 7, 8.
All right, so I'll bring it up on the Kindle so you guys can actually like see the actual book, go through it a bit. So, second. And there's a 36-page book too. So I'm just gonna, I'll remove us and I'll share my screen so you guys can actually look at the DCKO thing. Issue 4. It's like there's and so
A DC Comics event.
Yeah, right.
Which would just be another version of this is gonna suck.
Yep. There you go. So some covers. So yeah, you get like going through this. This is like the first page here. We get some fighting. Joker ends up switching sides. And he's like, fuck this. I want to be on the best side. So they let him. And so Joker gets a little boost up. And he's a parademon. Grinning ear for ear. And Booster Gold reveals that he's actually Dark Side. We get Wonder Woman versus Absolute Wonder Woman. And after that, we get Superman versus Absolute Superman. Absolute Batman gets some kryptonite from Joker, rips it out of Lex Luthor's suit, gives it to Absolute Batman, who stabs Superman in the back. And yeah. What bothered me is this whole game thing. Like they've been talking about like a board game they're playing. Is that supposed to be in the past, I guess, before those events? Because I thought maybe this is all one giant D&D campaign. They're just playing a game.
Because that could be, what they're talking. Because if you remember, what wasn't Bruce and Superman talking about a game that they had, so that could be a thing. I don't know.
Yeah, to this. So, I mean, yeah, he basically put the kryptonite on his horns, his bat ears, and stabs Batman or Bruce or Superman in the back. Not a really big fan of that. But yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. He knocks a piece down. I'm like, is this, like I said, this is how I feel this whole event is. It's out of continuity thing. That's what it feels like. It feels like this is just a 6-issue book series that has nothing to do with Darkseid. All it is them Bruce and Diana, Lois, and Clark are all playing a game. Yeah. He just said the guy who would cheat on a game. I'm like, what? I don't cheat. And I'm thinking, like, it really feels like, So that's my understanding for this. Now, if I'm wrong about this, because like I said, I have not been reading this, but it just seems like this is all fantasy, kind of like kids pretending. This is what you see in their heads. Joker wants to kill Superman. So then go back to the board game. Yeah, it's just something they all feel as someone coming into the competition. Joker feels it all most of all. Right in his chest. Gets stabbed. Bang. So basically, Bruce kills the Joker. After in the very first of series, Bruce was stabbed by Joker and killed him, seemingly. So this was like, what the heck is this crap? Like I said, this is supposed to be connected to the main ongoing universe? This is so weird.
Yeah. The Bruce is the killer.
No. And Clark be like, you murdered him. No. Who cares? Yeah. See knife fell far. Yeah, it's really what he did to do, Libra. And overall, it's just like, who's the kid? Like, oh, he's dark side. They're all dark side. Oh. Then go get him. Like, this is Scott Snyder on like drugs. Or I think he might be drinking or something. Because this has all been kind of crazy. Then we get Batman versus Batman. Let's do it, rich boy. I love this. He's like, I fought a lot of Batman lately. And he says, but that is the ugliest bat symbol I've ever seen. Thank you. Finally, he admits that it was the most stupidest design. So then he gets all his horns on here to pop out his armor. He's like, oh, how's it looking now? I'm thinking like, this is getting stupid by the minute. But this is what some of these new raiders just eat up. I bet you Zach, if he's rating this, he's probably enjoying this a lot. And just, the art isn't bad.
Oh, I see what they did there. It's growing on me. I saw.
Yeah, the ears, yeah.
That's a 4-year-old pun right there, but
yeah. So, yeah, I guess overall, the story was kind of bland for me. But then again, it's like if I look at this, having not be connected to the main universe, a standalone thing, it's all right. Batman throws little gas pellets, but it turns out it's like an acid, though. Yes. And you see that. Remember how episode Batman has his little cape? He can throw it out, like grab people. So he ends up like it goes through Batman's like shoulders and stuff, stabbing him. Throws him around. Meanwhile, we got Wonder Woman versus Wonder Woman. And yeah, she ends up flying through, killing the Hydra or whatever it is. And then, of course, I remember that. Yeah, remember that stupid thing where she only has one arm? Yeah, reminded of that. That's a poor decision. Superman versus Superman. If anything, this, instead of being a comic book, this should have been like an animated movie. I think it would have been much more well received. Booster Gold and just looking. The more I see him, he looks like he's like General Mortis. He's so anorexic, so skinny. And then Superman punches Booster Gold because Booster Gold's always the end of the butt of the joke. Poor guy. Yeah. So by punching him, he breaks Darkseid's can hold on the other heroes, and they realize they're free. Being a past in your own form because Darkseid was controlling them. And whenever I see the little cape though on him because it's torn, it reminds me of Captain Marvel, or sorry, Shazam. So then, everyone's all, well, we're all friends now. Thank us by joining the fight to defeat Darkseid. Yeah, we're all going to do this. Joining the fight. You look at you heroes. You think it's easy? What are you saying, Luther? I'm saying you didn't free anyone, you fool. You let them go. Why? Because out of his mouth He doesn't need him anymore. Here comes Darkseid crawling out of Booster Gold's mouth. Their eyes. I love like the absolute Batman's shocked, and so the Wonder Woman, and then their Batman's like, yeah, whatever.
Wow.
I feel sorry for Lex Luthor. He's got the freaking Stewie, what's his name? Griffin hair head like going down there from Family Guy. Like, this was a great shot. I like this. Like, some of the art here is really great. For the most part, though, the story is really weak, but the art makes up for it in certain scenes. This is a nice white page spread. It's also, I can tell you right now, because this is a 2-page thing, it's going to look like shit in the book because you're going to have that fold in there. You're not going to be able to see the full art. So this is their Amazon, their Comixology Kindle, which is roughly the same price as buying the physical. Sometimes I honestly, like, I know a lot of people like physical, but sometimes I actually kind of like they'll have these books up here. This is a new one. I paid to pay like $4 for this, but yeah. And at the end here, and like, yeah, we're gonna win. You know, for a split second, it says Clark minds go back to that night, that game, the moment when they were each a few squares away from the end of the board game, one move away from winning, the finish line. All that was left to do it was roll the dice. Such a yeah. Look at Wonder Woman. Both their faces. That is, ugh. And actually, Absolute Batman doesn't look that bad. He actually looks normal size. They all go against Darkseid. Kind of reminds you of that one cover they have with the giant Darkseid and all the superheroes trying to battle him. So I guess the board game it's a flashback. Okay, so that's what's going on. It was basically something that happened before this whole event. Which honestly, kind of I don't like. I prefer it being like the real part, and then the other thing is just make believe the game they're playing. Also, when did Superman start hanging out with Wally's wife, or not Wally's wife, but Barry's wife? That looks more like Iris West. And then yeah, Darkseid uses Omega Beam, kills them all. Just obliterates them, even Bruce, and all the heroes from the other world. Only Superman's left, fighting through the blast, but burning but alive, willing his cells to hold. Maybe it's Omega energy that he has accumulated. Maybe it's the knuckles that charge him back round one, extra bit of solar energy he absorbed, or maybe it's something else, something that's more. But Clark is just enough to push through, because he's Superman. He's like, is that all you have? Yeah. Is that it? It's like, impressive, Kryptonian. Now, go on. I'm waiting. It's that moment that Clark knows is Luthor behind him. He must have shielded Lex from the Darkseid's beams. Come on, Luthor. Let's do this together. You heard him. He's waiting. And it just... Yes, he is waiting, Superman, for a winner. No, Luthor! And this moment looks at these, just shoots one final blast, killing Superman to win. And so it's done. We have our King Omega. The tournament is over.
You know who doesn't win?
The reader.
Yes, exactly.
Don't go yet. We're not done. There's another part of the story you must know. Wait, there's more? From behind before the contest began and before the champions fought to claim the King Omega. In a time of legion and darkness, a future world. In a time of legion and darkness in a future world, look at this. It's like, what? So this is the Legion of Superheroes on Apocalypse? I can't tell. Are you sure you want to speak to him again? You remember what happened to that bouncing boy? The rubber fool thought he could handle the world's, words of the final god and paid the price for the blood. And only I could hear them and live to carry his message. Can you sense the false bravado in Saturn Girl's voice? Of course, the shake in her steps gives away. She has seen the worst universe has offered. The whole world's crushed under his grip. Lives extinguished in a blink of his eye. Souls erased with a low sigh. Madness in his mercy. You call for me, King Omega? And yet, every ounce of her being, she feels compelled to stand before MODOK. That's what's going to have. That's I feel it's going to have here. You'll see. The King Omega, the final god, Darkson. You are correct. You do not be afraid. You serve me well, Saturn Girl. I can sense enemy's efforts to stop me from completing my work, and so in time you understand what has come. Before I created this place, I was just a god, one of the many with the fourth world. But I knew I needed to be more. That destiny is lead to me in this direction. It's Lex Luthor, isn't it? I can't tell what it's supposed to be. Are the King Omega, the final god? So that's Darkseid then?
It looks like Darkseid.
It is Darkseid. That's a floating head.
Or it looks like kind of a old MODOK.
Yes, I said it looks like MODOK Darkseid. This threw me off. Hey, what's up, Jim? We're just spoiling the crap out of that absolute, or not absolute, but the DCKO final issue, I guess, issue 4. I think unless there's
the absolute of the absolutes of the Elseworld of the pretend board game stuff.
Yep. I killed and stole. I destroyed what I hated and what I loved. These Omega acts were not sacrifices. They were nothing in a grand scheme and order that I manned. Killing all the celestial beings gave me the mega energy to create a world in my image, a reflection of zero Earth with my presence in every cell. But this past moment you witness here eludes me. The point in their history, the present in their eyes, is unwritten. My creations, they resist. They retain free will from their destiny. So what? We got an Oliver Queen over there too? I didn't know there was a Green Arrow Absolute Universe. I guess that's a new book coming out? Yeah. Yeah. Santa goes, let's go back to that moment and kill them? No. They go near the future where they are weaker and basically, yeah. Don't go basically wait the future where they are weaker and retrieve them. Do not engage with their presence. The walls between our worlds are timeless and our strong will. And she's like, nah, it's just because this world is more than just a world. It is a weapon. And to see when I use well when the time is right. Yeah. May I present you, your horsemen, the heralds of your return, shadows of your creations, perfect for your Omega sanction to control. You've done well, son of girl. Now I can feel the heroes' challenge to plot me and to believe they can build Omega energy as I did. Control the heart apocalypse, call themselves King Omega. No, and yeah. It basically said, this is basically saying, instead of this, you'll find a vessel for me to possess. Yeah. So she's able to look into his mind and just basically, yeah. He doesn't want to, but he's like, do it. Of course. And she could not find the word to describe what she saw, and she's here, she's bleeding stuff. She understood something, a single phrase that haunted all who heard it. Darkseid is, yeah. Santa Girl saw the Darkseid would always win in that end. Such a crappy series, though. Yeah. DCKO was spoiled without your help. I'm trying to figure out which event was more useless, KO or Lazarus Planet or Halloween special that wasn't on Halloween. Yeah. All this, yeah. But for a moment, she saw a glimpse of something else, a light that shined. A creation of a different kind. So this is basically the behind the scenes. Like, we've all seen World Forger, which is basically Doomsday or something like that. Or I think, no, not World Forger. It was Time Trapper or something like that. Was the Dark Side? Yeah. Next issue, the King Omega. And just looks like a bunch of dead heroes. Oh my god!
Scintillating as this is, I'm gonna go ahead and jump off.
I thought you already left, bro. You've been quiet this whole entire time.
I had nothing to add. I don't buy new books.
You can still talk though. Anymore. How do you have nothing to add?
I just don't.
You can say what you said. This looks shit. You can give your opinion.
I don't even care enough to do that anymore.
But that's it, though.
I'm just so much shit that I can't even mention this shit.
I'm just waiting
shit for the shit.
I'm just waiting for DC to announce absolute KO.
But what's worse, that book or the AEW with Steve Orlando?
That would require paying attention.
But you know who's going to be more upset though, and I'll say this: I think Aaron Sparrow is going to say that he thinks the video game is still worse than the Steve Orlando comic. He wants his $60 back.
A tough call.
But that is it though. I just wanted to show everybody just like that's apparently that was the final issue, and a lot of people are very mixed on that. But then again, I thought it was a stupid storyline through the whole entire thing, and like at this point, we had a Lazarus event was dumb. The only thing I liked about the Lazarus event, it was tied into the Demon Nazala thing, was tied into what was going on. Marc did with the World's Finest with Superman Batman. That was actually cool. I was like, oh, they're actually kind of bridging these. But after that, I was like, I did not need to see the Amanda Waller thing where everybody got their powers swapped or switched. Where I was like Freaky Friday with superpowers. That was dumb. And then now we have this DC KO thing. Now, as we've talked before, the DC Absolute Universes were selling better than the main universe at DC. So if they're smart, they'll keep them separate. They'll try to keep them separate, but it seems like they don't want to. And I think that's going to what they're doing. The thing that kept the DC Absolute Universe separate, and that's what made it better than that's why people liked it. But if you're going to kind of combine that into the main universe, I don't think people are going to want to invest in it. I think it might take a dip in quality, and eventually people are just going to grow bored of it because you're going to water down what you had going on in the Elseworld. But we'll find out. Is that Groot? No, there's no Groot here. No. But overall, I said that main books for the night. Jim, you're kind of late. My number one book of the week was actually Transformers number 29. And then I had the Immortal Legend Batman, which you can rock and replay it. Rocketfellers number 12. Moon Knight, we talked about that, number 1. Aquaman number 14. Garth Ennis is at his volume 2 of Babs. Issue number 2 came out. Jason Burrows. Definitely recommend. Geiger is wrapping up. We're getting more crossovers. There's more mention of Simon Pure in this. So we're going to the past with Geiger next issue. So we're seeing more about the beginning of the unknown war. We're called. Supergirl was decent. And then I had Valentine's Day special, which actually was a good story too. All the ones I've read this week, the Phantom final issue was the weakest of all of them. But if that's the weakest, I think I did pretty good because the other ones I did enjoy. But there wasn't that many good books out this week. Now, again, I'm not reading all the Marvel and all the DCs. There's a lot of stuff I avoid. Like DCKO, I wanted to dip into that and see what was going on because I saw people were freaking out about it, but there were people like, oh my gosh, that was the best issue ever. And I was like, all right, let's go over it and just see.
When people say that's the best issue ever,
so
I realize it's not. It's usually a bunch of bots, like all
there are people in the shop were saying that. People are saying like they're talking about how they're really enjoying the series and stuff. So, and here's the thing: a lot of people go to comic book stores today. They're like me; they read their books online before they even go buy the books, or they preview them at least. But try to give Absolute Wonder Woman a chance, but not that art. Yeah, that's a major problem with a lot of these stuff too. A lot of even the main universe stuff, Marvel and DC, is the art is just crap. It's like you remember Corey Walker? His art. He was the original artist on, I believe, on was it Walking Dead? I think it was him. I know he might, or it was on Invincible, one of those things. But it was like very, very bad art. But yeah. Well, we're gonna wrap it up here. So Brain can go to bed. Coco's already up there, probably waiting for him. So he's gonna mosey on out of here. And but yeah, that's gonna be it for tonight, though. Thanks for everybody who actually stuck around and stayed in. If you haven't done so, smash that like button down there. Hit the subscribe. We'll be live tomorrow night for another reading around 8 p.m. Eastern. Not sure what we're doing here. I gotta see if I think Professor Pixel usually joins us, but I think he's might be busy this week, so I don't know. We'll find something, maybe something Golden Age to read, because I've been really enjoying the Golden Age stuff. Maybe we'll do a Hawkman Flash. I don't know, or World's Finest. We'll find out. Or hey, and even another Avengers one. But we'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night, guys, and stay safe and inside and where it's warm, and yeah, avoid any protests. Not good. All right, later, guys.
Later.